Welcome back to Team Doctor's Blog. Today I'm going to talk about shoes, and what I'm going to talk about is counters. Now what counters do is a counter, this is called the counter here on the shoe. Now what a counter does is it will help you to stabilize or maintain your heel in a safe range of the rolling from supination to pronation. I'll explain. When your foot lands on the ground, what happens is that it starts on the outside and it rolls to the inside like this, and it springs off. So it starts on the outside and rolls to the inside like that. Okay? Now, if it starts too far to the outside, then it could cause twisting of the leg. If it rolls too far to the inside, then it could cause twisting to the leg. Neither one are good. Twisting of the leg is not good, especially when you take 10,000 steps a day or 3.6 million steps per year. So what combats that is a group of muscles of what I call the spring suspension system muscles. And these muscles are located on the sides of the foot like this. So when the foot lands on the ground, these muscles gauge the rolling, and they don't allow your foot to roll over too far like that. They hold the foot from rolling. That's called the tibialis posterior, anterior, and on this side is the peroneal muscles. These muscles help to keep your foot in the center or in the safe range between supination and pronation. If you have a weakness in those muscles and they're extremely weak because you don't exercise from the sides, which we're going to go over later, you know, if you just walk on straight paths or you're not really a big exercise person, or maybe you're carrying some extra weight on your feet and it's overloading the spring suspension system, regardless, we can't get those muscles strong enough in a week or two to be able to reduce the pain from the twisting. So the counters will help to keep that foot from rolling into the unsafe range. So the other thing is that even if you have good feet and strong feet, if you stand on your feet for a long time, like this cameraman is doing, what will happen is that the fatigue will start to set in and the suspension system muscles will fatigue and they'll drop and they'll lock the spring mechanism. When the suspension muscles fatigue, they commonly will collapse in a predictable fashion inward. So if this is your foot, when the suspension system collapses and weakens, it will commonly roll inward like this into what we call an overpronated position. So all we're going to say is that it rolls too far, and that's not good. So what the counter will do is will help to protect you from the over-rolling either way. Now, on this shoe right here, you can see this has got a wider counter system here for a wider foot. Now, maybe the foot isn't wider, just the counter is wider. This counter should be right against the heel with no distance between the heel and the counter. So that should be snug right there. That's the only area which should be snug. It should never be snug here, but it should be snug here. On this one, if this was my foot, there's a lot of room here. My foot can collapse and over-roll any which way it wants to. There's nothing holding it in. The other thing is that if we have an orthotic in here that's too wide, then what will happen is that it'll open up the counters, and then the counters can't get a grip on the heel to be able to protect it from the over-rolling, and that actually defeats the purpose. So if you have that kind of insert, take it out and do it this way instead. So this is called the counter, and the way you check it is you squeeze the side like a piece of fruit. If it's real tough and stiff, like a piece of plastic, that's a good counter. This is not a good counter, it's too flimsy. Patients have to have good shoes before we start the treatment process if they have an over-rolling causing the pain into the leg. If they don't, I just tell them, look, go back and get the shoes and come back when you're ready to be serious about this treatment. Because, like I said, I can't make those muscles strong enough to keep the foot in the safe range in a week or two. It's impossible, so we have to rely on the counter support mechanism. So, now the other factor is that when you are buying shoes, you have these foot pads that are built into the shoe, which are great to be able to if you're buying online, it's great to be able to use these foot pads to size the shoe better, because everybody's foot is different size and thickness. And so maybe you take one or both out, or leave them both in if you have a thinner foot, to be able to get the right sizing. Now, if you can, take the foot beds out, because what you can do is you can sink your foot deeper into the counter so it has a deeper support base. Sort of like digging a 5-foot hole for a flagpole or a 7-foot hole for a flagpole. When the wind hits it, it's not going to break, or it's not going to come out of the ground if it's deeper into the ground. So by sinking your foot deeper into the counter base, you can actually get a better grip on the heel to keep it from rolling too far. So that's how you look for a shoe with a good counter. Deep is always better, as long as it doesn't cause this ridge to irritate your ankle bone. And strong, and one more thing, extended. This counter goes out to about right here. It looks like it comes out to here. Some counters look like they come out to this point, but they actually come out this far, and those are called extended counter shoes. Those are actually better. This is not an extended counter. This is where the counter ends. So that's how you look for a counter. Shoes are a very useful tool if you have weakness, but unfortunately the weakness is caused from wearing shoes. So they cause their own problem and necessity as well. So here's another helpful tip: counters, the importance of them in reducing over rolling of the foot. Come back to another tip with Team Doctor's blog next time. Dr. Stoxen from Malaysia.